We'll get started as soon as we have a quorum. Everybody that's here, committee members of Juvenile Justice, you all get gold stars by your name on the committee roster, and I very much appreciate your engagement. Thank you. We will be at ease until we, yay, Dexter. He makes quorum. Woo! So I am going to start the, you better stop him.
Doorkeeper shall lock the doors.
Anyway, all right. So the only bill that we have on the agenda today is a bill that I'm actually carrying, House Bill 478. As a result of my carrying the bill, I'm going to turn chairing the meeting over to Representative Vice Chair Dubnik, and I will be presenting the bill from the table. Thank you. I don't think he's on the committee. I don't think we can count him for quorum. Oh, good.
Madam Chair, the microphone
Okay.
should work, and it's
All
all
right.
yours.
All right, I appreciate it. I'm just going to double check. The one that I'm working for is the right LC number. I don't think there were any changes, but I just want to double check before I get started. And I am correct. We are working from LC 480075. I will just kind of briefly walk everybody through the bill. Hopefully everybody has had an opportunity to review it. Welcome, members. Thank you. Nobody else leave? I still need quorum. So sorry. So this has to do with the child abuse registry. We have currently we have a child abuse registry in Georgia, and there have been voluminous problems that different folks have kind of wrestled with. The bill in front of you is kind of a culmination of a partnership between the Barton Law Center at Emory University, at which I believe Representative Oliver teaches. And is affiliated with also GACTL, Jill Travis, who was lately of Legislative Council and is now the Executive Director of GACTL, and as well as the Prosecuting Attorneys Council. So I will just kind of briefly walk everybody through. Section 1 is just kind of some cleanup as far as the code references are concerned. Section 2 just specifies some, with more specificity, some of the specifics of the occurrence of abuse that need to be included in the allegation. And also 35 through 38 references are already defined in section 1. So that language was stricken, that second part of that. Does anybody have any questions over section 1 or 2? Okay, thank you. Section 3, this just kind of outlines upon an investigator's, the child abuse registry basically is a registry of people that have had, not necessarily a criminal conviction, but have had a substantiated case of abuse and are, for example, our pre-Ks are able to access and verify whether or not somebody is on the child abuse registry. So that has to do with who goes on and who doesn't. So on line 45 is transmitted, was added, and we strike nobody. Previously, if you had a substantiated case of abuse against you, you automatically went on the registry. This allows for a notification period for the person that has had a substantiated case of abuse, and it allows them to apply for a hearing to appeal their placement on the registry. So that is outlined in section 3. There is the notification to the person that is potentially going to be on the registry. The information that's included is delineated in line 65 through 80. And lines 80 through 91, they are stricken. And they are no longer needed. Juveniles will no longer be included on the child abuse registry. And So we go on over, just kind of delineating some of the requirements of the hearing. Also, the next section that we're looking at, lines 105 through 128 roughly, allow for a postponement of the hearing by the prosecuting attorney if there are any pending criminal charges. Prior to this, whenever somebody had a contested hearing about their placement on the child abuse registry, they could apply for a hearing. Sometimes the abused child would have to testify, and it would imperil the criminal case. So therefore, this just allows for a postponement of that hearing if it's requested by the person that's may or may not be placed on the registry. So it's just a postponement for the prosecution so that they can resolve the criminal case. And then we kind of that kind of goes over some more of the details of the hearing. And then this. Does anybody have any questions? I feel like I'm going really fast. So then they do have the right to seek review by the Superior Court if they so desire. Section 4 has to do with expungement. And 235. I'm too vain to put my glasses on. 235. That kind of delineates some of the information that will be taken into consideration whenever there has been a petition for expungement for removal from the child abuse registry. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you,
Also,
Chairman.
we have a lot of folks here in support, and I just want to give them a shout out because they're here and they have worked really hard on this effort. This truly has been a group effort, and they hung with us all day, and I know it's late. But we have folks from PAC, we have folks from the Barton Law Center at Emory, and we also have some DFACS folks here as well. So I just wanted to give them a shout out because this was truly a group effort. So I'll be more than happy to answer any questions from the committee.
Thank you, Chairman Ballinger, and thank you all for being here and sticking with us late in the afternoon. I can't see numbers, so number 25.
Thank you, sir. I probably shouldn't say anything about this bill because I was the author of legislation on this area, child abuse registry, that got struck down by the Georgia Supreme Court unanimously 7-0. So
Don't jinx us.
I say that to say we're in some tough areas here. Who has access to information on who has a substantiated child abuse report?
So the substantiation will be kept within the division. Correct me if I'm wrong, Walter, but that information will be wholly kept within the division.
Nothing in this registry is public.
No.
And this is not mandated by federal law.
No.
Well,
it is mandated that they have to check it if we have one.
Why are we doing it?
I think that it's important because sometimes there are those folks, the people that are allowed access to the child abuse registry are those folks that deal specifically with our most vulnerable population. And the fact that you may not have a criminal conviction for neglectful behavior, leaving a child unattended in a car or something like that may not rise to the level of criminal prosecution. However, if I'm going to entrust my newborn to you at a daycare facility or something like that, I think that's pertinent information.
But the daycare center doesn't have access to this. Am I right or wrong?
The child abuse registry. They do have access to the registry. They don't have access to the substantiated cases of abuse. Not every substantiated case of abuse will go on the registry, if that makes sense.
I don't.
Yes.
So they have access to whether or not the person is on the registry.
Mhm.
That's the
But no facts.
Yes.
No facts.
Yes.
Chairman
Yeah,
Ballinger,
okay.
could you state that?
I'm
just
sorry.
So that we can hear.
If you wouldn't mind, go over there.
Yes, ma'am.
Yep, go over there. This is the attorney for the Division of Family and Children Services. Please introduce yourself to the committee.
Good afternoon. My name is Chris Empling, General Counsel for Georgia DFACS.
Thank you for being here, sir.
Thank you. The
Who has
question was whether or
access?
not anybody outside the agency has access. The only agency that has access to whether or not the person is on the registry is DECAL. and the only information that they receive is, that's it, whether they're on or off the
So a
registry.
private school doesn't have access?
That's correct,
Boy
ma'am.
Scouts don't have access?
No, ma'am.
So it's one entity that has access?
Yes,
And
ma'am.
that's public and private daycare centers? Or is it only, it's pub,
It's decal, and I'm not completely familiar as far as decal's licensing and who,
public
Gonna
and
go-
private?
yes, ma'am.
And they're not, is a daycare center mandated to check the child abuse registry?
Yes, so long as Chairwoman had said, so long as the registry is in existence, they have to check it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, sir. Thank you, Representative. Number 16.
Hi, I want to say thank you for the bill. I think it's great, and it addresses a lot of concerns from about the child abuse registry. But daycares is not the only one that checks the child abuse registry, right?
Well, the Department of Early Care and Learning and the licensees of the Department of Early Care and Learning.
But no other employers?
No.
Any other questions from the committee? Seeing none, what is the will of the committee? We have a move to pass and a second. All those in favor, please say aye. Any opposed, same sign. We are working off House Bill 478 LC 480075. We have a motion and a second. And Madam Chair, this bill shall move on. And
Okay.
unless there's
Nope.
any
Thank
other
you.
business
I
of the
appreciate
committee,
it.
we
Thank you,
are
committee
adjourned.
members. I appreciate your hanging with us.
We are adjourned.